Hi Leo, welcome to your July 2015 Taroscope reading. I hope you've got a few minutes to sit back and enjoy and just listen to the messages that come across through the cards and any other messages that arrive. I've put into your reading this beautiful little crystal in the background here. This is called a spirit crystal. It's quite often connected to the spiritual realm or past life work as well. It is based with amethyst and citrine in it. I'll put the meanings down below the video afterwards for you if you're interested in it. It really is a beautiful little crystal that kind of ignites activity, I guess. Let's have a look and see, Leo. Okay. The Ace of Cups. You can't really see that very well, so I'm going to have to realign my camera. Okay, the Ace of Cups, the Six of Cups, the Two of Wands, and the Two of Pentacles. So no major arcanas again, but it's really interesting. I think it kind of shows us that maybe July for a lot of people is a little easier going than some of the previous months earlier in the year have been. The philosophy behind the major arcana cards is that when they turn up, there's a lot happening at a really deep level that is literally churning stuff around and re-evaluating who you are, you know, your path that you're on and things like that. Now, we've seen several readings in the past few months where there were 4 major arcana cards even, and that's a surprisingly large amount. The reason I believe we have been seeing so many of these type of cards arrive and so many issues around is we are going through a galactical change, and especially an astrological change. We're having planetary lineups that we haven't seen since the 1600s, so we will notice a change of paradigm shift within ourselves, within society, governments, the way we live. And that's why we see often these major arcana cards turning up in the readings. So I am finding it interesting that July, for the readings I've done so far, there hasn't been one turn up. So I hope that means everyone just gets a little bit more of a relaxed, chill out time, because it is much easier when we're not constantly having to dredge through the hard work in our lives and figure out, you know, oh my God, who am I? What path am I going on? You know, what's happening? So anyhow, coming back to your reading, we have 2 cups, a wand and a pentacle. And you have got 2 twos. Now when the twos turn up, or when more than one card turns up with the same number, they're repeating a message. And twos are often about working in partnerships with something or somebody. So it's often bringing balance into partnerships, especially this one at the end, and or considering others within a partnership. Now the other thing that I'm going to be doing for the month is working with numbers. So the ace is counted as a 1. So we've got here a 1, a 6, a 2 and a 2. So your overall vibrational number is 11. And 11 is a master number, which is actually a very spiritual number. But if we were going to, we could also break it down to become 2, because 1 and 1 equals 2. So we've got yet another 2 in your reading. So for you guys, I'm getting here a lot of messages about partnerships and maybe spiritual partnerships, because we've got this ace over here, which is a very spiritually oriented card, and it is a card of feelings of love and heart connection, in particular, and emotional love and romantic love even. So let's go back to the beginning of your reading and start at the first card, which is the Ace of Cups, which would represent the first week of July. And I noticed that it's sitting right under here, the little spirit stone. So I'm wondering for some of you whether or not you come into contact with, or you're initiated with some form of relationship that is particularly spiritual. It doesn't necessarily have to be romantic, but there could be some soulmate connection. Now remember that soulmates are not always just romantic. You'll have soulmates in your family line, you know, siblings, parents, cousins. You'll have soulmates in your workmates, friends, all sorts of things. So I'm just thinking that there could be quite a close spiritual connection in a relationship that pops up for you, possibly in the beginning of July. Now it could also be a romantic relationship that might be on the beginnings or cusp of that whole flourish of new energy, and if it is, it might be quite a nice soulmate energy for you, like a romantic one. Those are the main feelings that the Ace of Cups card actually gives out. New potential energetic emotional connections, contacts, relationships, still flourishing, still coming, and there's also some sort of gift that comes with it from the spiritual essence. So they can be rather nice to have in your life. They can also, the aces, just mean new beginnings at a lot of levels. So it could just be new creative ideas that are coming into your mind. It could be the prospect of new employment, or maybe even changing a house, you know, moving, something like that, or new friends coming into your life, just the overall beginnings of everything. And in fact, when we look through your whole reading, all of your cards are in the lower half of the numbers other than this number 6. So it's like you're at the beginning of some sort of cycle. You may have previously worked through a whole lot of hard stuff that you were going through, and you've maybe done the hard yards now, and you've come down the other side and you're starting off again with something new in your life, like whether it's new feelings, a new direction in some way, but it's kind of about a new you. We come to the second week and we see the 6 of Cups. Now this is the only thing that would take me back in time, because it's often going back into our childhood or our youthfulness, and it can be connections that are along that line. So it could be attending family functions, usually happy. I wouldn't be thinking of a funeral in this case, but sometimes weddings or 21sts or just get-togethers, social outings. And it could even be going back to a school reunion or something along those lines, where you may make contact with someone from your youthful years, or from, you know, 10 or 15 years ago. An ex-lover may turn up on the scene, and you may initiate that feeling. That could be something else. It is actually a rather nice card because it generally holds fondness of memories. So there's this positive flow of that, you know, when you're really young and you're kind of living in the happy bubble of being a child and a youth at the same time. And we often, if we're lucky, if we've had a nice younger life, we can hark back to those memories and feel real love and harmony and fun and laughter and good times. Well, that's what this card has the feeling of. If we were looking at it from the perspective of health issues at all, I often think of it as being family related health disorders. So there could be things like asthmas or eczemas, or anything else that could be familial that flows through a family, and there might be something that pops up in July along those lines for you. And if there is, I often say to people, go back and find out your family history and see if you can trace it back, and how others dealt with it, and what the symptoms were and what the treatment was needed to be done. We come to the third week in July and we see the 2 of Wands. Now sometimes I think of this card as travel. He's holding the world in his hand and he's looking out as if to say, I'm ready to fly the coop, you know, to try something new, to go in a new direction, and possibly I'm wanting to leave where I am, so travel one way or another. Whether it's thinking of shifting home, which I mentioned earlier, going on a holiday literally, leaving something behind, whether it's your employment. We get the feeling of that, and he is definitely contemplating his future. So sometimes this also corresponds to just your whole stage in life. You might be leaving an old career behind and starting a new one. You might be starting new training, or you might be contemplating these feelings and thoughts. And remember I mentioned earlier about the fact that it's a number 2, and we often think of relationships and considering the other person, because if you are in a relationship with 2 people, don't forget about this guy or person or woman stuck out here on the other side, not getting much attention. So it's all about balance. And we see that over here in the 4th week for you, you've got more messages coming in about balance. And we see the 2 of Pentacles. And this is another card I think of as travel. So I do get the feeling some of you will be travelling in July, maybe towards this latter part. We see here too that the infinity sign is in place. So that's the cycle of life. And that's again why I think I mentioned I feel as if you guys are in some sort of new cycle of beginnings, and could be new partnerships, and it could even be business partnerships because we're talking money as well. So this can be a time when you need to balance your money, balance your finances, how much you're spending, you know, juggle your bills, make sure you're putting enough aside to pay your bills, but also make sure you're putting enough aside to enjoy life as well, because it's not all about hard work. It's also about juggling relationships, juggling your health, which you might be doing. You might be overindulging a bit and then having to swing back the next day and kind of go, oh, I need to cut back on that a bit. So there could be a whole bunch of that seesawing movement for you at the end of July. Nothing particularly major, I don't think, which is, as I say, there are no major arcana cards. So overall, Leo, pretty positive, upbeat reading. Let's have a look and see this other half of the reading, which are these beautiful cards. There's 52 of them, one for every week of the year, I guess, and every single card has a different beautiful photo on it, relevant to nature actually. They're all just photos of nature, and they're quite hard to shuffle because they are rather big. But I'm going to pick this one for you, and on the back, if you like, are spiritual messages, kind of little insights into windows of the soul. So let's see what your message is. Actually, there's 2 cards that have come. So I picked the top one. I'll read both for you. The top one is wish. When we stand at the edge of the wishing well, we throw coins into the well with the hope that something will change in our life. Instead of wishing, have the courage to dive into the wishing well. Delve into your depths and you will find the richness of your soul. As you are immersed in your splendour, all is transformed. Wish. That kind of goes with that whole new cycle that I get the feeling that you guys are in. It's almost like, don't be afraid to take the jump, the leap of faith, like that card, the 2 of Wands, looking out, wondering, should I do this, should I not? It's like, make the wish and do it. You're the one that holds the key to the questions that you're asking. And this next card that was coming with it, that really wanted to, is called Wisdom. Activate your inner wisdom and allow the equal amount of positives and negatives about any experience or situation to enter your awareness. When this occurs, they cancel each other out. Healing happens and all resistance about that situation or experience melts away. You are left feeling soft and easy. The veil of illusion parts and you have an aha moment that may go something like this. Now I understand why that was here in my life. That makes so much sense. My life is always showing me how to come back into balance so I can see and feel my higher wisdom. Today, look where your dreams are in your life instead of where they are not. You are wise. And that's a little bit too about the wisdom of balance. So there you are, Leo. I hope you've enjoyed that nice light reading, and I wish you lots of wishes for July. Go and make many wishes and ignite them and use your wisdom to balance it all. So thanks everyone for watching and subbing and leaving your comments. You know I love them all, and if you want a private reading with me, just follow the link to my website and I'm more than happy to be of assistance. So kia kaha and much aroha. Namaste.